What is up everyone? Do not even try here, and today we are back with a new scale model build. This time it is the Academy 32nd scale Nieuport 17 that will be painted as Charles Nogezer's aircraft in 1916. The Nieuport 17 is my absolute favorite World War I aircraft, and I believe it is honestly the prettiest. And yeah, overall pretty good kit. Lacking some details cockpit wise, but since the cockpit really isn't that much seen, it's not that big of a deal. But overall, pretty solid kit. It is my first 32nd scale one, and really at the end, I believe this is my best build so far. So anyway, sit back, relax, and enjoy the build. I first start by making the cockpit. This was overall pretty simple and only contains something about like 10 pieces. It really wasn't that big of a deal, and everything went together without much problem. I paint everything that is frame or joystick or rudder pedals with gunmetal color. I didn't want to go with a silver one as I believe it was too shiny. Here I am painting the inside of the cockpit. As the Newport had a full wooden cockpit, I had to do what we call a wood grain. So as I didn't have oil, what I did is first paint the inside with Tamiya wooden deck 10. And then with a Tamiya brown wash where I went deep inside of the bottle to get all that residue on the bottom of the bottle, create some contrasts. And I did something that a lot of people normally don't recommend with paint, and I managed to do some brush strokes on the wooden parts, as the brush strokes will create a nice wooden effect. And at the end, I think I made a pretty good job. Here I am starting on the engine. What I first did was building the pistons separately and all the other details also separately so I can paint them again separately. Uh, and overall, the building of the engine went without much problem. Here I am building the cockpit, and this went together without any problem at all. Honestly, this kit, uh, fitting wise, wasn't that big of a deal. Really, it was pretty good. I was really careful removing that piece of the engine as it had some of the tiniest branches and it was extremely easy to break, but I managed to cut them out safely. And here I am finally assembling the two fuselages, and it fitted together perfectly. After fitting the two fuselages, I start by sanding the joint seam to have a more flush and straight seam between the two halves. After finishing sanding the fuselage, I finish assembling the engine. Here I am assembling the elevator on the rear of the aircraft. While assembling the lower wings, I had to be careful to keep them at a right angle. The lower wings of the Nieuport 17 at a slight angle, so I had to give them that while building the wings. Here I am assembling all the little hooks on the control surfaces where the rigging later on the video will be attached on. Here I am pre-shading the aircraft. This step will reveal to be completely useless as for the silver color to have a nice and strong appearance. I will have to put some heavier coat than usual, as you can see here. So basically the pre-shading will not really be visible after the coat of paint. Here I am attaching the upper wing holder. Here I am painting the cockpit's windshield. As you will see later in the video, I will be attaching it after the addition of the upper wing. And honestly, in retrospect, like with the lower machine gun, I should have added those before adding the upper wing. I am here painting the Vickers machine gun, which was actually beautifully molded. Really, really nice mold by Academy on this one. When you are building things like machine guns or things that are usually sort of black and dark, giving them a dry brush with some gunmetal really makes the details pops out and really make the piece much more interesting. As said previously, attaching the machine gun before the upper wing would have made the entire process much easier. I am here painting the wheels with rubber black color from Tamiya. I am now assembling the roof-mounted Lewis machine gun. Assembling the undercarriage was kind of fiddly, but I got there eventually with some super glue and some patience. Here I am starting on the decals. They were honestly really good. I was extremely surprised because the only thing I heard about Academy decals is that they were quite bad. But overall, they went in really nicely and did not cause much of a problem. They were really thin and they seemed like most of the time it was more the static electricity that put them on nicely. So overall, pretty good decals. The only problem is that my micro set decal solution worked with them, but uh, it seemed like the micro sole did not do anything to them and did not melt them at all. So with a bit of patience and a cotton swab, I eventually managed to sink them into the details quite nicely, and I really like the result that I got at the end. Here I am trying to make some oil spillage coming out from the engine cowling. I first tried to make some blob of um, brown wash, and then tried to airbrush it away to create some streaks. And it ended up not working, so what I did is with some patience, enamel thinner, and some brown wash, I created a streak under it and some splashes to create some dirt effect. After sealing in all the details with a matte varnish, I start the most nerve-wracking process of the entire build, the rigging. It is not a secret, World War I aircraft have a lot of ropes holding everything together and making all the movable surfaces move. And so I had to do the entire rigging. The kit included some small ropes that I used, and what I did is first glue them to a part of the kit with some super glue, and then I simply elongated the rope and made the rigging. Here I am dirtying the wings so they look a bit more realistic. I do this along the spars, and after this the model was complete. So here it is, my 32nd scale Nieuport 17 by Academy. And overall, this was a really enjoyable build. Really not much to say. Some fitting issues here and there, but overall went together pretty easily. It is honestly my favorite model so far, and it is also a team that is, in my opinion, not exploited enough. World War One needs much. I believe World War One is really overlooked, and I believe people should make much more models of vehicles of the First World War. So yeah, overall, really enjoyable build. I am super proud of the results, and so yeah. So you can subscribe, like the video, and yeah, I will see you next time.